Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we've wrapped up the first major of 2026, the Australian Open. And Bryce, like we talked about, man, from the quarters going forward, fire. Just straight up good matches, good tennis. Give me your assessment of the second week of Australian Open.
I thought it was it's one to me, honestly, it's one of the best majors I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Because I know we always talk about upsets and things help kind of make a tournament exciting. But when you have really good big names and they all make it into that second week, that can be really exciting as well. And all of your favorites were up in there, and we had just enough surprise in there to still make it really exciting. So I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. Yeah, it was a great tournament.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was just good times. And like I said, I enjoyed every single one of those matches. Other, of course, aspects of tennis were happening as well. So we had doubles, we had, mixed and all of that. And some good matches there as well. Our guys, unfortunately, Aravello and Popic didn't make it to the end of the tournament, but yet and still, it was a very good final on the men's side against two Australians, and we had an American and a Brit. You had the Palmer Express, and I can't remember. It was Kubler, and I can't Pullman's, I think was his name.
Yeah,
And then you had on the other side, you had Skubsky, as well as Christian Harrison. I mean, look at Christian, was playing with Evan King last year, decides on a new partnership in 2026 with Skupski, and they come out the gates firing and winning a Grand Slam title. Bryce, give me your thoughts about them.
yeah. I mean, Christian Harrison, he's from my hometown, Port City.
Port City.
One of them Harrison boys. Anyway, um, shout out to him for getting his first, I think, Grand Slam
Yes,
title.
absolutely.
Um, After having a very strong season last year with Evan King. And do we know why he's not playing with Evan?
Well, what's interesting, Bryce, is that actually Evan and Christian really weren't even supposed to be partners last year. What happened was, I guess they were entering in a tournament, and somehow or another, the partners that they had, something
Mm-hmm.
happened and they couldn't make it. And so they ended up, saying, hey, y'all, you want to play
Mm-hmm.
together? And from there, they actually did very well. I don't know if they won the tournament or not, but they did well enough to make the
Mm-hmm.
decision that, hey, we just gonna scrap those partners that we had and we're
Right.
gonna link up and be together for 2025. And that's what they did, made the year-ending championships. But I don't know that there was anything like locked in that they were
Okay.
going to be partners, for the long term. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that because of that, yeah, it was, and Christian's very young. Both Christian and Evan are both very young as it relates to being in the doubles kind of environment. So yeah, Christian decided that he wanted to, explore and he picked up Skupski, which was boy oh boy, talk about a
That's a good
good
one.
pickup. That's a good pickup
Right.
because Skupski can play some doubles. He is very experienced. He had already won, if not one, but multiple Grand Slams. I can't
Yeah.
remember. So the fact that he was out there, I think has given Christian even more confidence. And they
Mhm.
played an excellent final, Bryce. It was really competitive. And yeah. Shout out to the American and the Brit. They
Nice.
came out the gate swinging. So very happy for them.
Nice. I
Yeah.
didn't, and I think I was mentioning to you, I really did not see
Yeah.
any of the doubles this tournament.
Well, that's
Uh,
because ESPN was being kind of tricky and the Tennis Channel was trying to do what they could. And we won't go into the coverage, but in my opinion, they need to do a lot better because
gotcha.
again, I don't think that they're giving doubles the necessary appreciation. They always talk about it and they want it to grow, but then they're not putting it on the screen for people to see, even though that's what more people play than singles anyway. So it's
Mhm.
all just very confusing to me. But regardless of all of that. Shout out to them for getting that title. And
Mhm.
on the ladies' side, there was a kind of a different group, and we expected, of course, to see Yakova and Taylor Townsend or one of the other big teams. But I guess we can say we it was a big team, although they just formed, and that was Elise Mertens and Zhang Shuai or Shui Zhang. I can't remember how you're supposed to say her name, but yeah, they partnered up for the. I think they had partnered up before, but they came back together. And then they were playing this Danilovic and Krunic, I think were their names.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
again, a good doubles match. They went after it. Mertens and Zhang were up a lot. I mean, they were up like a set in like 5-love or something like that. And then Krunic and Danilo, they came back. They won 2, 3, 4. And then Mertens had the opportunity to serve it out at 5-4, and she was able to do that. So they got them a Grand Slam title. I think it was Zhang's first, whereas I think Mertens has, of course,
Let's
multiple.
go. Right.
But yeah, but again, like Christian, I think Zhang, I think that was her first Grand Slam doubles title. So, any
Nice.
thoughts? Any thoughts about any of that, my man?
Shout out to them. Hey,
There you
that
go.
check. Get that
Shout
check.
out, shout out. And I guess the last one would be the mixed doubles because we had Piers and Gadecki who repeated as mixed doubles champions, and they are Australian. So I know the Australians were loving that, the fact that not only that they get champions that were from the homeland, but it was a repeat champion. And
Nice.
yeah, they ended up winning. It was a tough one. They were going against the French pair of Mladenovic, who, like you always say, you thought, was on that boat with Crystal Waters and them. I thought she had retired a long time ago, but she was like, I still got some mixed doubles game in me, sir. Don't get it
Nice.
twisted. And so her and Gennard, who is also from France, made it to the final, but ended up taking runner up in a tight, third set tiebreaker that it was 10-8. So very competitive on their part. But yeah, Gadecki and Piers won their second title.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
congratulations to all of them. What a way to start off 2026, right?
absolutely, brother. But we need to get to these men and women's
Oh,
because
let's do it.
who was the
Yes.
predictor was that guy over there, you all, Mr. Bryce Everett, because Bryce was like, listen, I'm about to tell y'all who the champions are before this whole thing gets started. I'm gonna tell you on both sides. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that, hey.
It's funny because I actually thought, you know, I was going to call the four finalists,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
until Djokovic was like, I'm going to get one of y'all.
Listen, listen.
I might not be able to get both of y'all, but I'm gonna get one of you.
Can we just talk about that? So let's just jump on the men's side then, and let's just talk about that whole. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you what, Mr. Djokovic, you talk about, luck be a lady tonight. I mean, come on now. He gets a walkover from Menchik.
which
Muset, yeah, let's
which
stay there. Yeah,
which remember is where I had predicted he was going to lose.
correct.
And so I was like,
Hmm. And then so then Sheik doesn't show. He pulls out because he got a injury. Then he comes up against Musetti, who I believe, well, that was the one that I picked, who was going to beat Novak at that point. And so I'm watching the match like, oh snap, I got one right. And here come the third set, and here come Musetti. He done did a Dimitrov. I said, boy, for real.
which is
For
the most
real.
Musetti thing he can do. Look, I'm gonna just say this right now. Y'all can like Musetti all y'all want. He is straight trash to me. He may have a really pretty backhand, and he's Italian and all that kind of stuff. He ain't never gonna win that. Never, ever. He might get some good 250s and a strong 500 one time, but he is trash. And so
Bryce,
I'm
that's
gonna just leave it
mean.
at that. Mm-hmm.
I think that's still left over from that time he wouldn't give us an interview. But anyway, don't
You
think we
know it.
don't on the baggage, folks, because we do. Anyway, uh, but he's sitting there, and up 2 sets to love, and then gets hurt, has to retire. And I mean, like I said, luck be a lady for Novak. He was just like, okay, this must be my sign.
Yeah.
So Novak gathers all that he can within himself, and he goes up against Sinner. And I'm gonna tell you what, Bryce, you got to give him credit, man, because
Mhm.
Novak Djokovic is like, listen, I'm older, so I ain't got my fitness like I used to. But you catch me when I got my good energy, I'm gonna whip
Mhm.
up on these. I'm gonna whip up on these new two. They don't know about them 24 Grand Slams. They better recognize, and that's exactly what he did to Yannick Sinner. He was just like this old Novak Djokovic right here, and I'm about to put
Right.
the fangs on you. I'm gonna look at you like you Nadal or Federer, and I'm gonna whip, whip, whip. You hear me? And he got about there, and he was like, Sinner was like, "What the hell is this?" After that first set, Center was like, okay, I got this under control. Novak was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And man, it was a good match. But old Novak showed up. Simply put,
Yeah.
he showed up, he showed out, and he beat Sinner. But at the same time, and this is what we have always said and talked about.
Mhm.
Can you beat the new two consecutively? And the answer to that is absolutely no. You cannot. No one, in my opinion, can at this point. And I mean no one. So let's go on ahead and talk about some of these other matches. So at the other bottom, who do we have? So Sinner played Rude and he swatted him out. I mean, Sinner played Ben and swatted him out the
Right.
way. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, like I said, Bryce, love me some Ben, like you've always said, he's got the tools. There's just a little bit more.
Mhm.
There's more experience. There's more time he needs before he's really going to be
Right.
able to assert himself to that level of the new two. But right now, he's just simply not ready because Yannick Sinner just snatched him up and threw him to the side. I at least thought Ben was going to get him a set out of that, and when he did, and I was just like, okay, Sinner is playing center ball. What were your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, and I, I want people to remember that Shelton is also on a little bit of a delayed schedule versus
Yes.
some of these other young guys, your Sinners and Alcarazes, who came out when they were 17, whatever. I mean, he went to college,
Yes, he went to college.
and he did that whole route, which I think was good for him.
Mhm.
But he is probably at a professional level still a couple of years behind these other guys.
Yes.
So I think, look, he made a seeding.
Yep.
No shame at all in
No
losing
shame.
to center.
Nope.
I think he had a very, very good result. So
Yep.
shout out to Ben Shelton. Um, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have center and you have Djokovic at the bottom.
Yep.
Up top, we had, Alcaraz, came on to through Demon Yard like a bad cold.
Yeah, he did.
you know?
But let me say this though, Bryce. That first set of that match was ridiculously good tennis. Alex
Mm-hmm.
Demonar played at a level that I was just like, okay, he trying to get after something here. And I'm gonna tell you what, and this bothered me. And whether or not it really impacted play or not, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but I'm still gonna talk about it because I think it's worth talking about. Alex Demonar is not somebody that plays slow or anything like that. It's I think it was maybe was it 5 all or I can't remember, but it was right in that point of the umpire gives him a time violation. And it was because the crowd is going off and they're doing all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Even Alcaraz stepped up and was like, what do you, he was like, he ain't do nothing. He was like, I wasn't ready. I mean,
Right.
and I honestly feel like, because to that point, Demonar was playing incredible tennis.
Mm-hmm.
He and Alcaraz were going back and forth. Do I have any doubt of the result that occurred? No. I still feel like Alcaraz would have definitely won that match. But I do feel like that chair umpire making that call then, again, it's those little things that can take your focus down or just irritate you just enough. And at that
Mm-hmm.
point, that's when he got broken for 7-5, and then he got swept under the carpet 2-1 in that second and third set. I just always feel like those it's those little things. And when someone is on fire like he was,
Mhm.
Had he been left alone, again, I don't think the result would have been different, but I don't think he would have lost 2-1 in the second and third.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
that could
disappointing. Go ahead.
yeah, that very well could, be true. We know that there's such thin margins between all the players,
Yeah,
and momentum is such a big thing. Um,
yeah.
but
But with that being said, it wouldn't have changed the result. Alcaraz was like, "Listen,
yeah.
I'm on a mission. I'm doing what I need to do," and he got past him, and that was that. And then of course we had the Zverev Tien match, and
Mhm.
Lerner, like I said, I'm so impressed with that young man.
Yes.
I thought he was going to be able to use his leftiness and cleverness against Zverev, but I tell you what, Zverev, and I feel like I treat Zverev like I treat Casper Ruud. I don't really give him as much respect as he probably deserves because he's been
Hmm.
number three in the world for a very long time. Well, I mean,
Hmm.
sort of 3-4 behind Djokovic. But Zverev he can play. He can play. And
Hmm.
he's tightened up that forehand a good bit, and he got out there and he lost that first set, but then he was like, "All right, learner."
Right.
It's time for you to see the number 3/4 player in the world do his thing. And that's exactly what he did, in my opinion. Passing it to you.
Yeah, I thought he played a really good match there, but if I'm being honest, it was the match against Alcaraz in the semis that he really impressed me. Uh,
Whoo, talk about it.
because I tell you what, anybody that knows his game knows that it's the forehand that typically will break down for him. I have never seen Zverev hit his forehand the way he did in that match against
Yes.
Alcaraz.
Yes.
When you think him and Alcaraz, you just think, okay, Alcaraz is gonna make it a forehand battle and win that 9 out of 10
Nine
times.
out of 10.
And Sasha was hitting that forehand, and the backhand was already money. He was serving good. I mean, so I'm gonna take two different perspectives here.
Okay.
You know, had Alcaraz not started cramping, it probably would have been a straight set win, right?
Yes, I agree.
But Sasha took advantage of what he could
Yep.
and really was basically serving for the match.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
and in the fifth set, and he straight up legit had a chance to win that match.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alcaraz, though. I mean, yes,
It,
Alcaraz. I thought it was so smart of him when he was like, "Okay, we are going to extend this match as long as we can to make
yeah.
sure I can get over these cramps.
Pickle juice.
This is a temporary thing. You know,
Let that pickle juice sit in. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you're exactly right, Bryce. He and his team, and we've talked about this, and like I said, I was definitely on the wrong end of it, which we'll talk more about. Because again, I thought he was going to be more fragile mentally because of the lack of Juan Carlos, and that was definitely not the case. They were just like, listen, you need to do whatever you need to. You got two sets in the bag. Do whatever you need to do to stretch this thing out and let these meds and this pickle juice and all this salt and
mm-hmm,
potassium take its effect so you can get through this cramping. And that's
right,
exactly what he did. For him to get through, and lose 7-6, 7-6, be down 5-4 in the fifth set, and
mm-hmm,
be able to mentally be like, you know what? It's now time.
right.
And again, he puts in the little cheat
Cheat
codes,
codes.
and it's like he breaks, he holds, he breaks again, 7-5. I'm sorry, Sasha, but it still ain't your time. I mean, like I said, I give Zverev a lot of respect, but boy, oh boy, Carlos, that was amazing for him to be able to pull that out because that was sure enough remnants of the French Open against Djokovic, and where
Mhm.
he faded away. He didn't do that this time.
He did not. And the thing that I was happy about was because remember in the beginning, we really didn't know what was going on with him.
Right.
I was happy that it was cramps because that meant he was going to be fine for the final.
Right.
If it had been the abductor issue that he was thinking it might have been initially, then he would have been compromised for the final. And then that's a whole different story, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, man. So like I said, shout out to him for he and Zverev for an
Yes.
incredible. No, shout out to all of the semifinalists because
Yes.
again, that Djokovic center match, I'm gonna tell y'all, There was no way I thought Djokovic was going to pull out that match. I was just like, okay, yeah, they're going into a fifth. Yannick will be, Yannick, he'll pull out
Right,
his youthful energy and he'll get through it. And Novak was like, son, I'm trying to tell you, this is 24 Grand Slam Novak right here.
right, right,
And boy, oh boy, those two semifinals, ugh, fire.
right.
Absolutely.
Because, like I said, even if he would have gotten past my upset prediction with Minchik,
Yeah.
um, he was going to lose that Musetti
Oh
match.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
I mean, definitely. And
and
he even admitted that he was just like, I was getting outplayed. He was like, he would treat me like a little rag doll out there, and I couldn't do
yeah,
nothing about it.
but he took advantage
Yes,
of his
he
second
did.
life, and
He did.
that takes us to the finals,
Yes,
where I thought it was so neat that we had this scenario that no matter who won, history was being made. You know,
exactly. Didn't that
either
make it good, Bryce? Didn't that
it
make it
did.
good?
I mean, you had Djokovic who's going for number 25 in terms of Grand Slam titles. And then you got Alcaraz who's got a number of things he's going after, right? And so, and I'm just, and so, yes, so I did predict Alcaraz was going to win this tournament. Except for I thought he was going to do it over center.
Right.
And let me just tell folks this just for going forward. And this is part of the reason why I picked center. I mean Alcaraz.
Mhm.
Alcaraz is number one in the world. I think he is the best player in the world. I think he's the most talented player in the world. And in all honesty, now that he's won at the Australian Open, if he's in a tournament and he's healthy, he's always going to be my pick.
Yeah.
There is never going to be a time that Alcaraz, I mean, I'm sure eventually there will be a time, but I'm expecting no time in the near future when I see his name in a draw. I don't care where he's seated.
Hmm.
And if he's not injured, that I am picking somebody over him. I don't care if it's on grass. I don't care if it's on clay. I don't care if it's on hard court. I know some people like to say, well, he hasn't had the greatest record indoors. I'll deal with indoors once they put a major indoors. So, I mean, it's just, you know what I'm saying? That is just so for future
Yeah.
prediction shows, pre-shows. I don't want
Yeah.
y'all to be surprised when, I say, oh, who makes to the quarters, whatever. But Alcaraz is my pick in the finals. And I think, and I know I'm going out on a ledge here because we've been doing a lot of talking about the new two.
Yeah.
I think we're getting ready to go through a period where Alcaraz is about to separate himself from center.
Mm.
Center is going to continue to dominate the rest of them bitches. All right. I'm to be very clear. There is still a huge gap between the
Yes.
two of them and everybody else. But
Yes.
I think Alcaraz is about to go on a run. And if anybody doesn't think he isn't going for the calendar Grand Slam this year,
Yeah.
you are sadly
You're
mistaken.
sadly mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna so I am going to speak on that because I agree with what you said, and I'm going to speak on the fact of what I was saying in pre-show as well as our discussion that we had with the ladies at the end of the year with Chanda and Katrina and Zena.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that him breaking up with Ferrero would be a dip for him. And what and I will fully admit, y'all, Isaac was completely wrong. And here's why. Well, not here's why, but here's what I observed. Carlos, it was interesting to me because I feel like given the matches he played at the Australian Open, I think Juan Carlos is someone that he's very much like I feel like he's very much like a Tony Nadal. He's very old school, very much, follow the rules. You must do this, da 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 da. And I think that worked so well for Nadal because that's Nadal's kind of his what do you call his style,
Yeah,
his
that's his MO.
yeah, that's just kind of how he is. Carlos is a different he's a different species. He's a jovial, he's a very happy-go-lucky, he's the smiley smiley.
Right.
And I thought that there would be a dip because he wouldn't have the focus. But I honestly feel like that strictness that Juan Carlos brought, I
Hmm.
think you move that out of the way, and it actually caused him to be even more like creative
Hmm.
and focused. And because I saw him, and during the match with Zverev, you never saw him get overly animated or upset or crazy. He was still smiling, even though he was doing the cramping thing. He wouldn't have been smiling if Juan Carlos would have been in the box. And
Right.
that's when I was just like, holy shit, this actually might be a good thing for Juan Carlos to not be in his camp because Sammy and those guys, as you can tell, they're less
Right.
aggressive, if you will, or less strict. And I
Hmm.
really feel like that helped Alcaraz, especially in that match against Zverev, because he
Hmm.
didn't have all that pressure on him that a Juan Carlos would have, because Juan Carlos, you
Right.
don't never see him giggling, haha, chi 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 in the box. He like,
Right.
you need to be focused and let's get this job done.
Right.
I think he needed that openness to be himself and be jovial to be able to get through that and to see this through. And like you said, Bryson, I'll stop there because I could speak on it for hours, but I believe you 100%. I honestly feel like Carlos Alcaraz is going to get the calendar slam this year. I
Hmm.
just he he played some outstanding tennis this fortnight. And it was
Right.
amazing. He is amazing. Everything that you said was spot on. So anyway, I'll leave it there. But yes, folks, this guy completely wrong about Carlos Alcaraz for 2026. Not only is he not in a dip, he's going to excel.
You know what? Because we are music people,
Hmm.
I have the perfect music analogy to this.
Come on.
I'm going to compare, now people don't go crazy with this, just listen to me for a second. I'm going to compare Alcaraz to Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Michael, as a kid, was under Joe like this.
Under the
And I
thumb.
think that was, however you feel about how that went down, I felt like that was good for him in terms of learning discipline
Yeah.
and being focused and doing all that. I think Juan Carlos was good for Carlos in the beginning like that. Now you have Alcaraz at the, let's say, off the wall stage of Michael Jackson,
All
right?
right. All
He's
right.
like, all right, I've gone through, the whole training and discipline stuff. Now I want my talents to
To
flourish,
shine
right?
and
In the
flourish.
way that I see them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so that's why I'm feeling at this moment with him now being the youngest male to have won 7 majors before they were 23,
Yep.
for him to be the youngest male by a couple of years
Couple
to have a career
grand
Grand
slams.
Slam, for him to currently be number one in the world and to be the current holder of 3 of the 4 major titles,
Crazy, right?
right? And any year before now, he has never had the opportunity to go for the calendar slam because he's never won the first leg,
Right.
right? I think one of the things I see in Carlos Alcaraz is he likes to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think one of two things are going to happen. Either number one, he's going to win the calendar slam because that's just, they're already asking him questions about it because they know, right?
Right.
But if he doesn't win the calendar slam, the one major I know he's going to win this year is
Uh-huh.
going to be Wimbledon
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because he, you, and I love the way he played it last year. He's like, Yannick, good, right? You just played too well. He he is taking Wimbledon back this year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If he
Believe
only
that.
wins one other, but I really do think he is going. And if he does that, that's what I mean by win the calendar Grand Slam. And obviously that puts them in another whole category. That puts them in something Djokovic never did, right?
Correct. Well, none of them.
Right. I mean, that puts him in Rod Laver.
Rod Laver.
You know,
Exactly. That's all the way
right?
back to the 60s.
Right. He that this is all part of what I'm saying is, and center is going to get his win. They're going to continue to battle,
Oh
but
yeah.
this is what I think in this year in 2026 where you're going to see a bit of some separation,
Okay.
right? Because you've
Okay.
already started seeing people talking a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Um, but good for center because it'll be nice to see how center rebounds,
Exactly.
and how he they continue to push each other, you
Because
know.
he's gonna need a minute to get past the sting of losing to Djokovic. Because I
Yeah,
feel like that's definitely a hard pill for him to swallow right now.
yeah.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But
It's going to
again,
be his version of how Carlos felt when he didn't win that Olympics.
correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to take
Mm-hmm.
him a minute, I feel like, to rebound, but he will. I think that he
Oh yeah.
will. He'll be all right again. He, like you said, he's still going. There's still so much distance between those two and everybody else. He's still going to beat up on everybody else, in my opinion. So, he'll get his victories, but it's turning. It's going to be a good tennis season on the
It
AT.
is.
I
And I
tell
want
you
to just
what.
say one more thing before we get off the cross. I'm like you guys. I talk about this for the next 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
He said something that it was, and if he said it before now, I've missed it. I've never heard it.
Okay.
But when he made that comment that he wants to be the greatest player of all time,
Ooh. All right.
I mean, when you're saying
Yeah.
that before you're 23
Yeah.
and you now already got seven,
Yeah, half of somebody else. Anyway, I was happy about that. I was like, you have faith, friend. Come on, let's go.
I mean, he's letting folks and even Djokovic know right now, like
I'm coming.
enjoy these years where you claiming GOAT status because that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And even McEnroe came out and said he's off to the right start.
Well, I tell you, I mean, think about this, Bryce. If he does win the calendar slam this year, he'll have 11 grand slams. 11. And he'll only be what,
10,
23?
10.
Oh, that's right. 10. 10, that's right. He'll have 10, but at 23? Baffling.
Yeah.
So and the thing is we're saying that, and it's very, very, very likely to happen. It's not like it's just, oh my God, that's way far, far reaching. It's really not,
Right.
he's still coming into his own. He's still growing as a
Mm-hmm.
player.
Yep.
He hadn't even reached his peak. The peak is supposed to be when you're about 26, 27, right?
Yep.
He still got 4 years to get there, and he winning, and he owned three of the four Grand Slams right now. I just want y'all to think about that real quick. He ain't even got to his peak yet, and he got three
Right.
of the four Grand Slams. Holder, like yes, y'all. Look at my cabinets. The boy
So
is
shout out to you, Carlos
yes,
Alcaraz.
yes,
What a wonderful, wonderful event you had, and shout out to all the men. It was a great tournament. That, like, I just want to go back real quickly and say the night of those two semifinals
yes.
was like the best night of tennis I've seen in.
Yeah, I didn't get no sleep. I didn't get no sleep. I was just up, and it was ridiculous. Yes, yeah. So kudos to all the fellas. But like you said, shout out to Carlos. You lose a major part of your team and you still come through like that.
Well, and I think that was another statement he made
Yeah,
because he heard the talk. Right,
yeah, yeah,
there were a lot of people that were in the same camp you were.
yeah.
Right,
Yes, there
and
were.
so when I said him winning that title resulted in many different things. One of the things it resulted in was it squashed any of the noise
Yeah.
about could he still win without
Without
Ron
Juan
Carlos.
Carlos, right.
Now, don't get me wrong, Ron Carlos is still a huge part of why he's winning,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but it does not mean that he needed to be in the mix going forward. And maybe instead of us giving people in his camp Carlos's camp the side eye about because we've heard they were really the ones that pushed for the move and not Carlos. It may be because they saw what we're now seeing. They
Right.
may have seen that Carlos was maybe being stifled
A
a
little
little bit,
too, yeah. Look, I agree. I
and
agree. I saw it. Like I said, bro, I literally saw it when I was watching the match, and I was just like, I think he's actually doing better with, just how he was handling the moment and the situation. To me, it was better when Carlos was not in the box than if he were. And
Mm-hmm.
at that moment, I was just like, yeah, Carlos is all right. He's about to allow his full talent to blossom.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
Yes, sir.
Well, Isaac, before we move over to the women, let us take a really quick break and we'll come back and we'll jump into it. All right, we are back.
We made
So,
it.
okay, so the men, whole bunch of goodness there.
Woo.
But guess what? There was some goodness on the
There was some
women's
goodness on the women's side too. Do not get it twisted, Bryce. Let me tell you.
side.
Oh my goodness. And once again, you were spot on with your prediction. I personally, quarters, I was just like, everybody I picked lost. I mean, no, I'm lying. I at least got two of them right. But I expected Sabalenka to get through, of course, over Jovic. And once again, shout out to Jovic for, the young teenager for making it to a quarterfinal of a Grand Slam. No shame in going out to the number one
Right.
player in the world. Yes, she got worked, but that's okay. She'll lick her wounds and she'll be back better. So
Mhm.
kudos to her. But Bryce, that next match. I can't. I just, there is no way that you would have ever, that I would have ever believed that Coco Gauff would have gotten smacked up and slapped around by Eleni Svitolina. The way that Svitolina was like, girl, don't you know I have a child? She was like, I have been working on this forehand for a long time. This point is money. You hear me? I've been carrying this child around in this right arm for a reason. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. And I'm telling you, Bryce, impressed.
I mean, yeah, it, I tell you what, it's one of those things where it's like, I predicted that Coco was going to beat Svitolina because I just thought, at this stage of a major, this is kind of where she's at, and kind of what she, Coco's in that kind of top four group of women that we talk about all the time that is showing up in the majors. But look, I have continued to say I have been so impressed with the game that Svitolina has come back with. I mean, when she used to play, that was the one kind of X against her was, yeah, she's a retriever, she's a backboard, she's very consistent, but she really doesn't have any real offensive weapons. And you always joke with her kind of maybe carrying Sky with that arm. She came back with a forehand that is an absolute weapon, and Coco Gauff can tell you all about it because she, I mean, she drove Coco, and it wasn't even close. Um, but shout out to Svitolina. I mean, she absolutely brought her game, was not intimidated by Coco by any stretch of the imagination. And that was a bit of an upset. So
Absolutely.
you're right on, Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce, I just never would have expected that result whatsoever. But shout out to Elena Svitolina for getting it done. And like I said, wouldn't have expected that. So right on, my man. Going down the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So who do we have? And again, Pagula Anisimova. I'm thinking, Anna Samova is going to show up and show out that this was her grand slam, at least to get to the final, because I picked her to get to the final to then lose to Sabalenka. But Jess Pegula was like, nah, sis, I'm the American right now. I'm the American. And that was a really good match, Bryce. Really good
Mm-hmm.
match. And JPEG showed up, showed out.
Well, you know what? I don't know the numbers, so I could be completely off with this, but Pagula doesn't lose a lot to the other Americans, does she?
She does not. She does not,
I mean, she may
including
get worked up
Coco.
by Rybakina and Sabalenka and them, but them other Americans,
Yeah, she like, ain't nobody scared of y'all. I know y'all game. Shoot, I grew up with y'all. Shoot. And lest we forget, like I said, Jess Pagula is she 30. So she been out there for a minute. She
yeah.
had injuries early on in her career that kind of held her back. So she's now, she's hitting the scene, but it's later in
Mm-hmm.
the scene. She was out there with Maddie, Madison Keys and all of them. But now she's just like, yeah, no, I've seen y'all game. I know y'all game. Ain't nobody scared of you Americans. I am an American. Don't get it twisted.
Right, right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so she got up on Anna Samova and boy, it was a good second set. They went back and forth and Anna Samova tried her best to push it into a third, but Jess was having none of it. So
No,
kudos to her for getting past that.
right.
And then of course, the one that, I think we were all calling, Rybakina was like, listen, Iga, you done had your little time. We all appreciate it. We all, yeah, you did your thing, and you will continue to do your thing on clay. But on this hard court, you ain't got nothing for this game I'm about to bring you. You ain't got nothing for it. And she was just them laser shots, man. Bryce, her ball striking is pretty ridiculous.
It is.
It is ridiculous how cleanly
Mm-hmm.
she hits the ball. It's flat, it's laser like. It's just like it's amazing how precise she can be.
Mm-hmm. Really is. And Isaac, we were early on Rybakina. I
Yes, we
mean,
were.
when we first saw her, we were like, whoo.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, actually, we kind of saw her and Karatsev at the same time, and one has kind of gone one way and one's kind of gone the other way. But yeah, no, she like you said, I think everybody kind of expected for her to come through over Swiatek,
Yeah,
and she absolutely did in straight sets. So that puts us now in the quarters. I mean, sorry, in the semis where we have
yeah,
Sabalenka versus Svitolina and Pagula versus Rybakina. And I'm gonna just say this and turn it over to you. I felt like we knew the winners of both of these going into the semis. You know,
correct, correct.
shout out for the tournament that both Pagula and Svitolina had, but I just saw Boys to Men in concert this weekend, and it was like we knew we were at the end of the road. I mean, for them. I mean, you
Yes,
know,
yes. I mean, honestly, it's like Svitolina just does not have a good record against Sabalenka because Sabalenka can just simply out hit her and can hit
yeah,
her off the court. That's something that Coco doesn't do. Coco wears you out with her athleticism and consistency and depth and change of shots. She had none of that on the day when she played against Svitolina. So going into that match, I was like, yeah, that's just not a good matchup. And it showed in the scoreline. It was 2-3. It was straightforward. She swiped around and was like, I'm getting to my another Australian Open final. And with Rybakina and Pagula played a good match against Rybakina, I have to say, because again, both of them have very flat, very
mm,
laser-like shots. But Rybakina is she just hits cleaner and she hits bigger, and that's just simply it. Cleaner,
right,
bigger. Neither of them are the best movers per se. But again, shot wise, yeah, Rybakina is just that little inch better on all of the shots, especially the serve, than Pagula, and that's why she was able to take that match. So, like you, I had yeah, I didn't feel like there were going to be any surprises in those results.
right. And then that takes us to the finals, which is, I thought it was going to be Rybakina versus Sabalenka.
Yep.
And I had picked Rybakina. And as a reminder, the reason why I had picked Rybakina was a couple of things. If you've been paying attention to the women's tour, Rybakina has actually been the hottest player on the women's tour for the last 6 months. So it wasn't like she wasn't primed already for this. She
Right.
had the perfect warm up for this by beating Sabalenka in the finals of the year-end championship. So, and we already know she's not afraid of Sabalenka, but
Right.
it was good to get a major title um, over her recently.
Yeah.
But and then one more thing is we used to talk always about these four: Sabalenka, Rybakina, Coco, and um, um,
Ego.
Ego. But recently, it was last year, and it was because Rybakina wasn't really coming through. Now we're starting to talk about Anna Samova,
Yep.
and I think Rybakina was like, I can appreciate you guys making this pivot, but y'all wrong.
But y'all wrong. Yeah.
You know,
You're wrong.
I, I'm in that top four. I might be in that top two.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the last reason, and maybe the strongest reason why I thought she was going to win this title, is because she is still on her revenge tour.
Oh, yes,
She
yes,
is
for sure.
pissed that people kind of went after her man. I mean, excuse me, her coach, and he had to go through that suspension. We know she avoided the whole picture with Portia, the WTA president and CEO
Yep.
at the year-end championship. And, Sabalenka's supposed to be queen in Australia right now. And I just felt that Rybakina was going to be on a mission and be like, y'all know who I am. And I'm about to remind y'all, stop acting brand new. This is who I am. And and
Yes.
and 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 not like she went out there and she blew Sabalenka off the court. I mean, it was a great
It was
match.
a great match.
And quite honestly, come third set, Sabalenka up 3-0, I'm thinking Sabalenka's gonna pull it out, right? And say what you want about how her coach talks to her, but when he told her ain't nothing to it, put your back into it, we need to see some energy, you know.
Bryce, come on. That, in my opinion, that changed the match. And I was going to bring that. I'm so glad you saw that and pointed that out as well, because that's what I was going to bring up. I literally thought, because at that point, momentum had swung to Sabalenka. She was able to flip the momentum, take that second set. She went up 3-love in the third set. I was just like, okay, Sab is about to take this championship. And the minute Rybakina got up in her corner, he was just like, "What you doing?" He was like, "Where your energy?" He was like, "Act like you in a Grand Slam final. Let's get it." And I don't. It was so funny. I was just like, he was. I was like, "You are spot on, Bukov. Tell her," because her energy, it was low. It was just
Mhm.
very low. And at that point, the minute he said that, it was just like she was just like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And then she started pounding them serves again. Them laser-like strokes started coming back to her. I was like, this one about to get it. And
Yeah.
she did just that. So yeah, say what you will about her man slash coach. He at that, and I'm gonna tell you what, Bryce, and I'm gonna be very honest with you, because they have the whole, what he was saying, and he was being negative and all her stuff. I think actually him being suspended was probably a very good thing, because he's on his P's and Q's. Because every
Mhm.
time that camera rolled around, he be sitting there like, y'all not gonna catch me. Y'all not gonna catch me doing saying nothing wrong, because y'all gonna use that as
Right.
and I think he is being on his best behavior, which I think is
Hmm.
actually a good thing for their partnership as well, because he's being overly positive. But the
Right.
minute he was just like, "Where's your energy at?" He was like, "Girl, act like you in the Grand Slam final," and she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I am, aren't I?" It immediately flipped, and she was just like, "I'm snatching this momentum back, and I'm
Yeah.
taking this home," and that's exactly what she did. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Bryce. I've had my up and down feelings about Rybakina and everything that she's done, but I'm gonna tell you what, I was actually pretty happy for her to win this Grand Slam, because, and this is why I say I was happy for her. We all forget that when she won Wimbledon, she did not get the points for Wimbledon. She may have been a Wimbledon champion, but all that comes with it, as far as the points and the rankings and all of the good stuff that comes after you've won a Grand Slam, she didn't get any of that. She didn't get to enjoy being a Grand Slam champion. And to
Right.
me, this makes up for that. She is now legitimately Australian Open champion. You get your 2,000 points, you
Right.
get your dance, you get all the press, you get everything that
Right.
she missed out on as a whole, when she won Wimbledon. And so because of that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be happy for her because she deserves that. She then got her supplements all in order. Her vitamin A, B, C, and D are in check. Everything is wonderful. So you know what? Shout out to Lena Rybakina for getting it done. Sis, you did good.
And they asked her about, they were like, oh, well, previous champions, they've jumped in the Yarra River, and she was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that.
She's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Would you literally expect Rybakina to do? No, come on now.
She was like, give me my check. Where my check at?
Where is my check? Exactly.
Because me and my man, coach,
Right.
got to go.
Give him some photos. Yeah, show him more. Disrespecting my man slash coach. What's wrong with y'all?
But I'm telling you what, man, look, I think she's going to be a contender,
Bryce,
going on for the
Wimbledon,
rest of this year.
Wimbledon, US Open. I think Clay,
Mm,
she'll contend, but I don't think that she'll be the favorite. But
right.
definitely going into Wimbledon, if she holds the same form and the US Open, you can't deny that she's going to be one of the favorites. And I'm gonna Bryce, a lot of people and someone really close to you may not like hearing this one, but I'm making a prediction as well. I don't think Iga wins a Grand Slam this year. I
Wow.
don't think she's going to take the French. I just feel
Mm,
like Coco's going to get herself right to
okay.
defend her title. I
Mm-hmm.
think Sabalenka is going to get herself right because she wants that French Open. And I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know if I see Iga being able to fight off everybody else and those two to get. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, man. Yeah, I'm feeling a little concerned about Iga as it relates to getting a Grand Slam title this season. Not to say going forward as a whole, because I feel like she'll retool, she'll do some things.
Mm-hmm.
Growing,
Mm-hmm.
I forget what a boy's name with the hair, Wimfacet. He'll
Yeah.
figure out some things with her and she'll get right. But I'm just not feeling that she's going to win a Grand Slam this
Mm-hmm.
season. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
Bakina, listen, with her starting the way she started.
Mm-hmm.
Sabalenka better be on her toes because she might be fighting against her for that number one at the end of the
Yes.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Let us not get it twisted. I think
Yeah.
Rybakina is not only going for Grand Slam titles, I think she's going to be coming after that number one.
I think she will be too.
Yeah,
And with both her and Alcaraz, the race to the championships, they both in the top spot right now.
they both there. Exactly, bro.
So it's going to be really, really interesting. And I'm gonna just say this for both the men's and the women's tour. I love it when the first major, the Australian Open, really sets you up for a good year.
Yeah.
It has set a good story for
Hadn't it
us,
though? Come on
you
now.
know.
Yes, yes. Good storylines coming out of it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the Australian 2026 Australian Open. I hope you guys enjoyed it the way that we did. Um, we are, I think the next big thing on our plate is Indian Wells.
Yes. Yes.
And I guess I should call it the BNP Paribas Open,
Man.
respected by its real name. But Indian Wells, yeah, we'll be there that first week. So you know how we always do. If you guys are going to be out there first week, go ahead and give us a heads up. We'd love to see you, catch up with you, like get the pick for the gram. But really looking forward to that. Isaac, final words about the 2026 AO.
No, just good stuff all around, brother. Glad we were able to enjoy it and looking forward to what is ahead from both the ATP and WTA.
Absolutely. So, everyone, with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. This has been a great time reviewing the Open with you. And on behalf of the podcast, this is your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone, be well.